This week I'm driving the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-e GT Performance. The model behind me is the top of the line for the performance. It's the GT Performance. The Mach-e model, it's a Mustang Mach-e. It works pretty much like the normal Mustang. So we've got different trim level. So one of the highest trim level in the normal Mustang is the GT. So it works pretty much the same way with the Mach-e. We're expecting maybe a more powerful Mach-e than this one, maybe a Shelby model. Just like the normal Mustang, we've got some glimpse at the SEMA show. Nothing is confirmed yet, but design wise, this one have a few difference between a normal model and a GT Performance. First of all, we've got that, we could say grille. It's not really a grille, but this is all painted in black. It looks really good. We've got a more aggressive bumper in the front. We've got a splitter for more downforce. We've got that, iconic shape here, similar to the Shelby GT350. On the side, we've got some amazing wheels, good looking wheels. Big brakes from Brembo. If we step on the side, we can really notice the difference between those two colors with the black and all that. Nice finish at the bottom of the side here. And on the back here, we can notice it's a GT model with that logo right here. It's the only logo we're gonna find on this Mach-e. And this is how you can tell, really, it's a GT model. Trunk wise, it's pretty much the same trunk as any other Mach-e. Good amount of space, but once again, because it's a coupe SUV, we're losing a little bit of space, at the top section, I could say, but still practical, decent, especially for a performance electric car. Stepping in the back of the Mach-e, there's no handle. That's something it kind of annoys me, especially in winter time, but it's all right. It's a future electric car. Plenty of space, pretty decent. It's a little bit hard to enter. I just knocked my head, but once you're inside of the Mach-e, I've got decent amount of space for my legs, for my head also, with that amazing glass roof. It's not the most comfortable back here. I prefer, to be in the front, but still, it's decent. Under hood, obviously, because this is a fully electric car, we've got a frunk, so we've got some space in the front here. We've got also a plug to drain it, so if we want to put some ice or something like that. Really practical. Power-wise, this Mach-e's got two motors, one in the front, one in the back. This is an all-wheel drive Mach-e. Power-wise, we've got an 88 kilowatt battery. This is good for 480 horsepower and 634 foot-pounds of torque. And obviously there's no transmission, it's a one gear. So it should be pretty fun to test it on the road. Now I'm gonna test the acceleration. There's no launch control on this Mach-e GT Performance, but it should be pretty interesting. Electric cars are pretty quick off the line. Oh, a little slip. There you go. So if you put the Mach-e GT in the unbridled mode, you can do the 0 to 100 kilometers in about 3.7 seconds. It's pretty quick off the line. It's pretty constant too, even if it's a little bit slippery right now. Winter condition, winter tires, really good grip off the line. So that's pretty good. Behind the wheel of the GT model, there's not a huge difference between a non-GT and a GT model. Yes, there's more power, you have a better looking exterior and all that. But, one of the key difference you'll find, you know, when you're driving it normally, I could say, it's really the ride. You know, the GT models got the Magna ride, so it's way much more comfortable, way better handling down the curves. It makes a big difference also. I'm on winter tires now, but still the ride is really good. One thing on the other Mach-e I drove before, they don't have any like good tires, and the suspension was kind of okay. With electric cars, you know, you have to make some sacrifice with the tires, because these tires are made for having a long range and having less noise on the road. But when you put performance tires on these electric cars, you have to sacrifice on the range, makes more noise and all that. I don't really mind, you know, having more noise from the tires and, you know, losing a little bit on the range. You know, when I was pushing the other Mach-e down the curve, it was losing some grips, and that was mainly because of the tires. But now, good tires with the Magna ride, it's so much better, you know. When you're on the highway just cruising, there's a big difference on the comfort level. Power wise, you know, if you don't really push it, if you don't put it on the unbridled mode, driving the Mach-e or the Mach-e GT, it's pretty much the same. There's not a huge gap in the feeling behind the wheel, just like a normal Mustang. Let's say you're in a base Mustang, you're in a GT or a Shelby, there's a huge gap, you know, in the drama, the feeling how the car is gonna behave, and just drive it slowly on the road, you feel a big difference, and it's not the case inside of the Mach-e GT. One key feature I really like about this GT model, it's inside. You know, we have some really nice finish, mix of you know, carpet, suede, a nice like pattern you'll find on the dash and also on the seats. Those seats are really good. I'm pretty glad, you know, Ford's been adding some special seats for the GT model, so you got a nice support, but they're comfortable, and that add on to the comfort of this GT model. Otherwise, you know, interior wise, it's pretty much the same as any other Mach-e. We have this huge screen. It works pretty well if you're used to you know, smartphone, iPad and all that. You'll find yourself you know, finding everything pretty much easily on it. It's pretty clear also when you're using your rear camera views and all that, so that's a big plus. Obviously, during winter time, everything is touchscreen. It's not the best. If you like to have your hard buttons, you won't find much here inside of this GT. Another difference also for the GT model, we have the GT logo here on the metal console. And that's pretty much, you know, we have this huge, you know, panoramic roof, give some light inside of the cabin. Now here it's winter time, it's getting already dark, even if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why I'm using a little bit more light during my review this week. This is the game when you're doing some reviews during the winter. So there's different modes you can choose from while you're driving your Mach-e. There's the Whisper, so this is like the range, like eco mode, I could say. There's Engage, so this is like the daily normal mode. And there's Unbridled, so this is like the performance sport mode. And on top of that, you have the Unbridled Extend. With the Unbridled Extend, I guess what I've seen online, you have a more constant, a little bit more performance with that mode. Now here in Canada, it's winter time. I think you can use the Unbridled Extend only if it's 15 Celsius and more. I don't have this kind of weather lately, so I guess this week I won't have the chance to try this mode. So I would like to try it to see exactly what it's changed to the driving dynamics and the performance and all that. But it's too cold, it's Canada, so you have to make some sacrifice. And speaking of sacrifice, we're gonna talk about the range. You're supposed to get 418 kilometers of range on paper, but I never saw any of those numbers this week. The most I've seen so far with a full charge, on my counter here was 272 kilometers. So I'm not sure if it's because, I didn't use a level 2 charger all week long. From my point of view, a fully charged battery is a fully charged battery. I think maybe, the system adapts itself to the temperature. So I think maybe the numbers I see here in front of me on the cluster makes, it gives you the range with the actual temperature outside. So I never saw any 300 kilometers or more this week. And especially when you use the heater and you you push the mach-e a little bit, the range go down pretty quickly. One thing I learned also this week, because this one is a pretty big battery, it's an 88 kilowatt battery. While recharging this battery with just a normal outlet, a 110 volt, a level 1 we'll say, when it's cold, it doesn't really recharge it completely. It just kind of like recharge it briefly. I think some of the power is used to keep up like the heat inside of the battery. So it's almost impossible to get a full charge on the 110 during winter time, especially if it's not inside of a garage. So that's something I learned this week. So I had to use the local level 2 charger. Speaking of those level 2 charger, it takes about 10 hours to get a fully charged battery. That's pretty much what I found, maybe a little bit more during the winter. And if you use a DC charger, a level 3, if you want to go from 10% to 85%, it's gonna take 45 minutes. So that's not bad. This week I was expecting a little bit more range. I barely was able to drive this car all week long. I had to keep in mind, to try to organize myself. Like I'm going to use it for the review. I'm going to use it to do some performance tests. Then I need to recharge it, and I need to use it again for my video shots. It was a lot of organization, a lot of setting up everything, doing the math to be sure everything was recharged. Also at the end of the week, when I bring back the mach-e in Montreal, it needs to be fully charged. So maybe the last day of my review, I'm going to use it to recharge it all day long. It's just, it's a different, kind of lifestyle owning an electric car. It's not like driving a Hellcat with a lot of power, and if you press it a little bit more on the gas, so you're just gonna put more gas inside of it, and it's no big deal. It's not gonna take half of your day or something like that. Now inside of the mach-e, yes, it's a lot of fun to drive, it's fun to accelerate with it, but every time you're hard on the pedal, there's consequences on the range, and you have to make your mind to organize yourself to really recharge it and have the time to recharge it more. In this case, it kind of breaks the fun of owning a performance electric car. Speaking of price, the Mustang Mach-e GT starts around 82,000 Canadian, and the model I'm driving is a little bit over $90,000 Canadian. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, there's a lot of gasoline cars you can get for the same price. It's going to be amazing, and even more performance. Just first thing that comes in mind, it's something like the BMW X4M competition, X3M competition. Pretty sure in a drag race the M models will be faster. Obviously, if we think about electric cars, this is a right on spot for the price and everything you get. But once again, speaking of performance, yes, this thing is quick. Yes, this thing is fun to drive. Yes, it's fun to have that instant torque. But I could say it's quick under 100 kilometers an hour. You know, when you go over 100, 120, if you're on a closed racetrack, I could say, you're hitting kind of like a wall, you know, at 140. It's not quick at higher speed. That's the weakness of like electric cars. Most of them, I think there's only two get, you know, decent speed at higher speed, like the Tesla Model S Plaid and the Taycan. I think the Plaid's got a third motor who's going to kick in at higher speed, and the Taycan's got a transmission is going to shift for a higher speed. So maybe these model of performance, or maybe the Shelby model is going to have a transmission or another motor more added to these model. That might be the solution if you want to have like a little bit more performance at higher speed. Once again, I wish we had a little bit more drama, a little bit more excitement behind the wheel, just like we found, you know, behind the wheel of any Mustang. You know, when we were stepping from the GT to the Mach 1 to the Shelbys and all that, we get more and more dramas. Obviously, with no sounds, with no transmission and all that, it's hard to have more drama. I can understand that. But even if the range was not there, you know, this week, it's still probably my favorite electric car I drove so far, because we're just, you know, adding more fun, more performance, more handling. It remove a little bit like the boringness, the appliance mode of the usual electric car. This is why the mach-e GT performance it's pretty much my favorite so far. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the mach-e GT performance? Is it worth it for the price? Is it the model just underneath below with the extended range a little bit more, a better deal for a daily driver? Let me know your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my video, and we're gonna see each other on the next review.